Good afternoon, swing traders. It's Wednesday, August 21st, and I'm going to give a quick market update. All right, looks like we remained at the top of the range here in this general consolidation area for both the QQQs and the SPYs. Overall volume is still extremely low, as you can see. Well below average, and slight increase from yesterday, but I wouldn't read too much into that. But at least today we did close above the swing point, the swing high on August 8th. So I see that as a semi-positive sign, but again, there's not a lot of conviction, also not a lot of movement. So that's really just not telling me much. We're still very much in the wait and see mode. Right now, I'm not really bullish or bearish. I think we may continue to consolidate just a bit more, unless we get a strong break to the upside with increasing volume. That's what I'll be looking for. Now, if we do break down below this level, this 188.31 level, and it is on heavy volume, we could definitely see ourselves breaking back down to either find support here at the 185.96 level, potentially the 183.64 level, or worst case, kind of go back and retest these lows here. Now, if we break through this, I've said many times, we could definitely go back and revisit the prior lows from June, 169 level. So we'll just keep an eye on it. If I do look at the 10-minute chart and zoom out just a bit, you'll see the last 3 days. So we've had, or last 4 days. So Friday, we were here. We gapped up a bit on Monday, and we've just stayed up here. Monday we were dancing above this level. Yesterday dancing below this level, and then today dancing back above this key level. I find it interesting on the 10-minute chart. If I zoom out a bit, this could potentially be an ABC structure up here. So if we look at this as the A point, the B point, yesterday's close as the C point, and then once we kind of break above these levels here, that would send us up just about probably about right here if we did a measured move. Again, kind of revisiting the highs. So, that's one thing that may happen. But, as you know, these ABCD patterns are everywhere. So, I wouldn't give too much credence to especially the intraday ones. But, that's just one thing I noticed. And, it looks like just a bunch of gobbled price price action here, but you can really kind of see it, A, B, C, and then D. If I go back to the daily, it's not really there. On the daily, on the little bit longer time frame, we could build the opposite case. So we have A, B, C, and then D would be the lows of June. So either case could work. Right now, the sort of the downside case is still valid because we did come down on heavier volume. We've retraced on lighter volume, and that volume continues. But if we do break above this level, which if I do the Fibonacci retracement, that's about the 0.618 level. If we break above 0.618, I usually consider that invalidation of the ABC structure, and therefore, we could definitely revisit the highs again. So we'll see, and I like to pay attention to volume. If we have volume to the upside or volume to the downside, that'll tell us how much conviction is in the move. Otherwise, overall, it makes sense to, while we're consolidating as an overall market and we're not trending, makes sense that you do trade a little bit lighter. Now, looking at it, SPY, I'll just touch on this. Exact same thing happened today. Actually, one thing to note on the QQQs, I believe we did change. We did close above the 50-day moving average. Looks like I don't have that set. One second. Pretty sure we did. Actually, we closed right at the 50 days. So, the market isn't going to really give us any clues, and that's okay. Indecision is key right now. But, oh well, that's the life of a trader. IWM, kind of the same thing. IWM overall is a bit of a weaker chart. It does reflect the small cap companies. So nothing surprising there, and really nothing has changed. Gold was down today, it looks like, slightly. But overall, a lot of our other positions did have a good day, especially a lot of the momentum names I trade or the tech names I trade. ARWR continued its up run. I'm still in a very small position. I sold it on Monday when it did gap up so much. It looks like 8%. I sold about 80% of my position that day. CVNA, love to give a shout out to those talking about that in Swing Chat channel. I was unaware of this stock. I looked at it and actually just made a very quick split decision to take a position in this, and I took that position. It was called out right here, right as it was crossing that B point, and I think that's about where I got in 81. I think I got in 81.31 if I remember correctly. So right at that pivot point, and so I'm up well in that, and I did decide to hold it at the end of the day because you look at that volume. High volume. We had good earnings. We had a gap up on earnings. We have consolidation, which is perfect. It took some time to digest that. Then we crossed that high B point on higher volume, and we could tell earlier in the day the volume was going to be heavy. It was trending heavy, so I went ahead and took that trade. Before I took the trade, I did look at a few things. I pulled up MarketSmith, which I can kind of easily see, the earnings or the earnings growth that was reported quarter over quarter, and this company has great earnings growth, which is something I like to look for in addition to a chart, because I want to trade good charts, but I also want to trade companies that are making money. Trade real businesses, so that even if the market is doing poorly, if I know I have my money in a business that is doing well financially, that'll be a little bit of wind to my back. I also did look at the weekly chart, and I see a big ABC structure setting up on that. I've got the A point around 29.46, the B point right here, right around 77 or so, the C point down here, and then once we crossed that level on the weekly chart, the 67.91 level, that was good to go on the weekly. And we, if you use a measured move concept, we have we have way more to go. We could probably hit about the 110 area as a price target. So that is a lot of upside potential on the weekly chart and the daily chart. So that's what I like to see best. I like to see the weekly chart and the daily chart align, and heavy volume. There was heavy buying earnings week. You see how huge that was, and that's a great sign. And also this week, it's high volume. As we're breaking out again, we're going to have higher than average volume likely. Once we have 2 more trading days this week, so that looks great. CrowdStrike. Let me switch back to the daily. Not so much of a good day. I actually did. So I had a position at around 96.90. Not the best entry. I had my stop set to break even. I stopped out, and I watched it and actually bought it today. I bought it back today at a lower price, right around 4:58 p.m. or something like that. So what that did was kind of, well, one, by having that break even stop, they guaranteed that I wasn't going to lose money on it. And then I did check back in at the end of the day to see where it was, and it was a little closer to this swing point here. Did not break below that swing point, so I thought, hey, I'll buy back in, but I will have a stop below the swing point. So if it gaps down tomorrow into this range, I'll be out. But anyway, a little bit weaker day. Although CrowdStrike has been relatively strong, so you can expect that from time to time, and that's okay. Smartsheet, I did take a trade into Smartsheet today, and I took the trade quite early in the morning. Before the 10 p.m. hour. I took it on the basically on the break of yesterday's high, and right there, and that's a little bit more risky kind of trade. It's not at the B point. I've just taken that trade because I know the stock. It had a great day yesterday. It really starting Monday back above the 50-day, and then got rejected yesterday. It rejected the high of Monday, and then when it finally broke through that, I thought, hey, that's a stock I want to be in again, because fortunately I missed this level that I was hoping to get, but hey, you can't catch them all. Well, I'm not playing Pokemon here, but you get it. Um, Short-term price target, we're heading back to this high here. It's a great company making money, so it's a company I want to be in. I'm gonna keep a fairly tight stop on this, and my stop will. We'll just kind of see how the market's going, how I want to gauge my risk. But one option for a stock is just below today's low. Another option for a stop would be below the swing point, and I may adjust that, or I may kind of set half of my position stop here and the other half of my position stop here. I haven't quite decided. I really do adjust them day by day, and just kind of depending on the risk tolerance I'm feeling, how my other positions are doing, I do adjust that slightly. Team, I did buy in today right as it was crossing the 144 area. I'm slightly underwater there. I did set a stop when I bought this today at the low of the day, and just did not, I'm still in it. I want to be in this long term. I've been in it a lot. It's right at a good pivot point, swing point, pivot point, same thing. But I decided to stay in it, just sort of positioning myself a bit to the long side. Because one thing I haven't mentioned, I do believe even though we're on higher or lighter volume, the longer we do stay up here in this area at the top of this range and consolidate, I think the likelihood builds that we will break above it, even though it's on lighter volume. Now that's not a definite for sure. We could break down heavily tomorrow, and that invalidates every trade I've made. But even if we consolidate here for a few more days, that's actually just kind of building cause here for us to see some higher prices. So that's just something to keep in mind. So while yesterday I was kind of net neutral with two put positions and two long positions, I got rid of my puts today, and then went slightly longer. But again, these are very light positions, and I'm just kind of nibbling because we could certainly chop around a lot, and I don't want a significant portion of my cash exposed in that kind of environment. So yeah, that's the way I approach it. AYX. I was talking about this a bit today in the chat. Now we're extended. If you remember yesterday, was it yesterday? When was it? I took the trade. Was it? Sorry, I can't even remember. I feel like yeah, I got stopped at. It's been so much trading. Sorry, I'm a brain fart here. I got stopped out yesterday and did not get back in, and it gapped up today. And you know, we all saw this coming. But given the overall weakness of the market, I just really wasn't in the mood to take a lot of risk, and I'm still not. But congrats to those of you that are in it. Now, one thing, watch and learn here. I did not buy it later. I mean, I could have bought early on that gap, and that still would have been an okay range. But uh, especially later in the day, once it had really climbed up, now it's 5%. I'm not going to chase it here. If it consolidates a few more days and then finally takes out today's high, that could be another entry point. But for the time being, especially if the broader market takes a bit of a hit over the next couple days, this could get hit. So I'm not going to chase it here. I missed it. Uh, you know, Compare that to CVNA. It was breaking out of the. It did gap up and then it consolidated and it was breaking out of that. So that's why I took CVNA and I did not take AYX because I just, I'm not going to chase stocks that are already gapping. Coupa, um, I was, I believe, I'm losing track. I have to keep better notes. I believe I was in this yesterday. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you know, I also stopped out, and if I was in it and I stopped out, and I missed this, but um, that would have been a good trade here at this level, but I didn't see it. Too much going on. Uh, Okta, another second strong day in a row. Okta was my weak stock, and I eventually got rid of it on weakness down here. And then what do you know? The next day, um, had two good strong days. I really like Okta as a stock, and it's also at this prior swing point that we see right here. Um, it's just sitting right there. But I'm I'm not trading Okta right now because it has earnings next week, and I'm just going to wait and see what happens. It has had this nice run up, has built this nice base. You know, Okta could, very well report earnings and just gap way up there. And I'm just going to miss out, unfortunately, if it does. But if not, or if it does gap up and then come back and retest this area, that would be ideal. Good earnings. It gaps up. Let's say it gaps up to 160, and then very quickly it'll come back and touch the 140 area anywhere in here, and then will continue its way back up to complete that ABCD structure. That would be ideal, but we just have to be there and play the game and see what happens. But I'm definitely going to be watching it, and um, I am able to do that because I know the stock because I've been watching it for so long. I know what a good price is. I know how it's been acting, and that knowledge that I gain by studying this every day will allow me to make a split-second decision and a good decision when it's time if I do need to act fast. So that's just there's just something to be said about building a nice watch list that you look at every day and you really kind of understand it. So a couple other stocks. Shopify, continued another good day up. Should you buy today? Well, probably not. But yesterday would have been the day. It did close above that swing point, but today, we have a continuation, gapped up a bit on strong volume, on accelerating volume. So hey, that's a good sign there. Shopify looks good. If you're in it, I would say keep raising your stops, protect your profit that you made, and enjoy that. Paysign took a bit of a hit today. I don't see this as a complete breakdown. We've had a good couple days of accelerating volume. It did make a new high, or at least a new short-term high. It came back. It did not break yesterday's low. So, if you've been in Paysign since the break of this swing point right here, you're still doing well. If you bought it yesterday when it was extended, you probably shouldn't have done that. I would have never recommended that. But if you did, you may be feeling the heat right now. Um, you know, a logical stop would be below yesterday's low. So if you are feeling heat and it does break below that, that's something to consider. But at least today's downside was on lighter volume, which means it's I still believe the likelihood is to go back and retest the highs, but we'll see there. Neo, well, I missed that. Looks like it broke out today, but this I'll probably put this on my watch list for tomorrow morning, and maybe I can catch some closer to the swing point, this 26 level. So this is good. This one could run. Zscaler looks like it's tried to make a bit of a recovery. We had all this selling on Monday, and then more yesterday, and we've had a little bit of upside on lighter volume. So nothing I'm really interested in right now. C Technologies, found support here. Tried to rally a bit today. Found support again. I'd keep an eye on this. You could take a small position here, but I would have that stop slightly below yesterday's low and just kind of leave it there, because there may not be much support below that. So that floor could drop out. So be careful with that. If you do take a position, take it small. AMD, just kind of hanging out there. Beyond Meat, this pesky thing, had some puts, and I ended up selling, sold at the wrong time today. I sold about, I think it was about right here. I thought we were breaking out again above this level, and I just didn't want to hold my losing puts anymore, so I sold those for a loss. But oh well, that's life. Tesla, luckily these puts were a winner. I did sell them about the same time as my my Beyond Meat puts. I should have probably, I could have waited and fared better, but I didn't know. But with that Tesla puts, I was able to recover most of my loss with the Beyond Meats, and I don't like to hold options very long, so anyway, so that's why I got rid of them and didn't hold them for the long haul. Okay, Zendesk. Well, it looks like we did break above this level. This could have been an okay trade today. It's typically not the pattern I like to trade, but if we can find ourselves up here in these higher ranges, it may have a shot at some kind of recovery. I do see accelerated volume, so that's positive. Roku, just kind of hanging out there. So we had this major gap up. We've had this consolidation range. So when we do make new highs, Roku could be a good buy for you. Wrap at 7, more consolidation. Zillow, more consolidation down here. CyberArk, more consolidation. Twilio, more consolidation. MongoDB, good day today. Looks like 6%, but it's still within the range. And if you're in it, great. But I'm not really interested until above this level, the 154.30 level. Zoom, more consolidation. It is building a bit of a, I guess you could call it a wedge pattern, something like that. So, it breaks up or down. It likely could have a big move. The longer these wedges form and the tighter they get, usually the bigger the move is. I think the bias is to the upside, in my opinion, just due to the amount of money that they're making. But we'll see. Earnings is in a couple weeks in September, so be careful there. Boeing, a little bit of recovery there. Slack, still same downward pattern. Disney, a little bit of consolidation. Workday consolidation. Fiverr, it's continuing. It's trying to recover. Tuffin, also trying to recover. So we do have a number of stocks that took a big hit that are trying to make a recovery. So maybe that is a good sign for the overall broader market. Maybe that's what's behind this. But we've got, so all the stocks that broke down do have slight recovery, and all the leaders, all the ones I talked about in the beginning, those are all making new highs. So those are the ones I like to trade. Guardant Health, looking good. If it breaks out of this cup here, we've got kind of a cup and handle here, or you can see this as a larger cup and kind of building a handle here. But it breaks above that 106.88 level. We could have a good run. I should probably move this a little bit higher to where I'll see it and maybe trade it more. There we go. Bitcoin, more of the same. Ball, this is the stock that keeps going. Um, I did a little research. They make containers, and I guess there's a glass jar company. To me, it's strange that their stock is doing this well. Also, I did look at their fundamentals a bit, and their earnings are not growing that quickly. So I don't know what's driving this. It's interesting, almost parabolic. So be careful. But this one's a fun one to watch. Ring Central, more consolidation up here. So it's had this nice run up. It's now consolidating, and when it does break out of this range, this could be a good buy as well. All right, you know what to do. If you like it, like the video, leave comments, ask me questions in chat. Yeah, so hopefully you found this useful, and I'll see you tomorrow.